Hey, in this video, we're going to talk about blending colors. As you can see, we have two frames right here. One is magenta and one is cyan or blue. As far as the stacking order is concerned, you'll see that the blue frame is on top of the magenta frame. So the way you blend colors is you have to have, at least, two or more objects selected in order to blend them. So we're going to select both of these items right here. And as you can see, they're overlapping. We're going to go up to FX, Transparency. Then you're going to get this dialog box right here. And really, in a nutshell, let me see if I can get this over here so you can see it. Okay. Maybe down here is better. In a nutshell, the option that gives you the best results, there are actually two, but the option that gives you the best results is the multiply option. So if we're here where it says basic blending, click on normal, drop down to multiply, and you can see that right here where the two colors intersect, you get this purple type color value. And if you drop down to, let's say, color, you'll see you get this green kind of value. And I think if you go down to like luminosity, you get this kind of pinkish kind of color. And you can play with it to decide which will work best for you. But really, your best result is when you say multiply. That's when you really get that third color value, which of course, if you put magenta and blue, you get like a purple. So let's say we say OK, and then we preview this, and that's basically what's going to print. The magenta, this purple kind of color, and then we have this solid blue. So that is a very basic look at blending colors. In this video, we're going to colorize a grayscale image directly in InDesign. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to do a Command D, or place. So I'm going to navigate my way to my desktop. I'm going to open a JPEG that's called Flower. I'm going to open it up, place it on my page, and you can see here's my JPEG image. Now, when I go over here to the color palette, I have this image selected with the direct selection tool, and you notice all the colors have been grayed out, all right? Because this already it's in a color mode. It's in an RGB color space. So you can see all of my color, my palette here has been grayed out because I can't do anything with it. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to open this up in Photoshop. And the way you can very easily open up a rasterized image in Photoshop from InDesign is very simple. You put your finger on the Option and the Command key on the Mac, or the Control and the Alt key on the PC, double click, and it's going to open it in the native application, which of course would be Photoshop. So now at this point, I go to Image, drop down to Mode, slide over to Grayscale. All right, discard the color information. Okay, and then I can just save it. All right. And once it's finished saving, it is now a grayscale image. I'm going to close it down. And then, as you can see, it automatically updated in InDesign as a grayscale image. So now when I select the grayscale image with the direct selection tool, and that's you can either tap on the little white arrow, or if you're in the selection tool and you just tap on the little donut, you will actually select the image within the frame. You go over to the swatch panel, and remember before these colors were grayed out? Well, now they're accessible because now we can actually colorize the gray or the black that's here and make it any color we want. So let's say you can make it magenta, you can make it yellow, ooh, that's kind of harsh, green, etc. So basically, that's how you can colorize an image, a grayscale image, in InDesign. Okay. In this video, we're going to talk about colorizing what they call bitmap images. Okay, let's start off by putting an image right here in this larger frame that is on top of that red frame that's in the back. So we're going to click on this frame, we're going to go to File, drop down to Place, and we're going to navigate our way to an image that I call black and white line art. We'll say OK. And as you can see, this image comes in. It's a grayscale image. And as we discussed in a previous video, we can actually colorize the grayscale image. For example, by clicking on the little donut right here, I've selected the image, and I can make that, let's say, I'll make this one like a green color, okay? And then I can select the frame, and I can give the frame a color. So now I have that blue, or maybe I'll make it yellow so we can see that. So now that you have this green line art and this yellow background. Here's the problem. What we cannot do is make, with this grayscale, we cannot make that background none, and then the none will allow this red to come through. That's what we cannot do. So here's how we solve that problem. If you're working with line art, what you want to do is Option Command, double click, or Control Alt, double click if you're on the PC, double click, open it up in Photoshop. And then you go up to Image, drop down to Mode, and slide over to where it says Bitmap. So when you say bitmap, and I would say make those, right now the input is at 72 dpi, or 72 pixels per inch. Go high. So I have 600, and I'll say OK. So basically what I'm doing is I'm making this thing, I'm taking it and I'm making this just one bit of information, as opposed to 250 levels of gray, 256 levels of gray. It's one bit of information. And then I'm going to go File, I'll say Save As, and instead of saving it as a black and white line art, I'm going to save it as a TIFF bitmap. So I'll have .tif, and then I'll say save. Okay, I'll accept all the defaults right here. I'll say OK. And let's see what happens when we bring this TIFF bitmap image into our InDesign doc. So I'm going to close it down. All right, I am going to replace this image. In other words, I'm going to, I'm going to, let me see, make that a TIFF bitmap. I'll say open. And as you can see, what it did was it just brought in just the black, and whatever does not have a color assignment is empty. So let's say, for example, I can now select the frame. I can make the frame, I can give the frame a fill, but I can also say no fill so that whatever was white is now nothing. So if I take this and I view this, display performance, high quality. All right, and then let's say, for example, this is what would print out, and I'll zoom in so you can see it. All right, so you can see what I did was I made this one bit of information so that whatever, it's just black and clear, black and nothing. So I now have an option. I can just color the line art any color I want to make it. So here I'm making it like this blue color, and as you can see, it's going to bring through whatever color it's over, that color will come through. So that's how you colorize a TIFF bitmap image.